Welcome back. You're watching NewsX and I'm Vaishali Kohli. Now, recently declassified verbatim transcripts of private discussions between Russian President Vladimir Putin and former US President George W. Bush reveal significant shared anxieties from as early as 2001 about Pakistan's nuclear arsenal and the potential for proliferation into countries like Iran and North Korea. Spanning meetings and phone calls from 2001 to 2008, the records underscore how both leaders privately regarded Pakistan, then led by military ruler Pervez Musharraf, as a serious challenge to global non-proliferation efforts despite their public post 9/11 alliance centered on counter-terrorism cooperation during their initial face-off meeting on June 16, 2001 at BRDO Castle in Slovenia. Putin directly raised alarms about Pakistan's political instability, stating to Bush, "I'm concerned about Pakistan. It's just a junta with nuclear weapons. It is no democracy. Yet the West does not recognize it, does not criticize it, should talk about it." This remark emerged in broader talks on strategic stability, missile defense, Iran, North Korea, and NATO enlargement. Bush portrayed Russia as part of the West and not an enemy. The two expressed personal admiration, Bush later noting he'd looked into Putin's soul and seen someone trustworthy. By September 2005, Oval Office discussions centered on non-proliferation and joint efforts regarding Iran and North Korea. The focus shifted to clear signs of Pakistani links to Iran's nuclear efforts. I have Aditya Vadhavan joining me. Aditya, what more can you tell us?
Well, absolutely, Vaishali. Indeed, these transcripts reveal how, from the time immemorial, and from the beginning, Russia has been absolutely pro-India, and definitely, when these chats that have come, that these transcripts from the declassified documents that have been made public, which say that even the Russian President Vladimir Putin, when interacting with the then U.S. President George Washington Bush, at that time had expressed concerns regarding the Pakistan's nuclear arsenal, because considering the fact that Pakistan has had a history of military takeovers of the democratically elected government, and definitely at that juncture, as you rightly pointed out, when Pervez Musharraf had taken over as the army general, and definitely when he had overthrown the government led by Nawaz Sharif at that point of time, definitely this concern was very rightly pointed out by the Russian president. And indeed, even during the Cold War era, if you see, Vaishali, before the disintegration of the erstwhile Soviet Union, the Soviet Union was definitely biggest ally of India. And when Henry Kissinger was the U.S. president, he had sent a fleet in the Indian Ocean, to which he had to stop that fleet in the Indian Ocean. At that juncture, Henry Kissinger, the former U.S. president, was somehow pro-Pakistan. So at this juncture, definitely these declassified documents reveal very, very sensational and very, very important facts, that Russian President Vladimir Putin, during his conversation with former U.S. President George W. Bush, he had expressed his concerns on the growing nuclear arsenal of Pakistan then at that juncture. Vaishali, back to you.
All right, I have Ambassador Mahesh Sachdev, former diplomat, also joining me on the broadcast. And Ambassador Sachdev, of course, very sensational transcripts have emerged. And these conversations between George W. Bush and President Vladimir Putin, of course, reveal a lot. What more would you like to say?
I think this is an interesting revelation, but largely of historic interest. One should say that the conversation that is being talked about is of June 20, 2001, 6 months or so before September 11 incident, which transformed the United States foreign policy and its security strategy. Pakistan once again became a strategic ally against Taliban-led government in Afghanistan, which had harbored Osama bin Laden. So the Bonhomme or the unanimity about Pakistan's nuclear arsenal and its proliferation activities didn't last very long, and nothing punitive was done by either one of the two powers against Pakistani activities. Abdul Qadir Khan was subsequently dishonored, and he had to admit his proliferation activities, but these were admitted as being done in private and not as a state policy. I would also like to add that this incident illustrates U.S. Preference for tactical tie-ups with Pakistan, even when strategic reservations about Pakistan's role in various activities, including nuclear proliferation, weapons distribution, and support to terrorism remains. So nothing seems to have changed. Once again, we are seeing the Pakistan largely controlled by Field Marshal being mollycoddled in White House and being praised internationally in person by President Trump for the same reasons, because United States tactically needs Pakistani support for Gaza plan, for securing the Gulf region, etc., etc. So more the things change, more they remain the same. Thank you.
Ambassador Sachdev, now when it comes to today's nuclear proliferation challenges, do you think that this historical record has shed light on it?
That's right. I think even subsequent revelations would come and they would reiterate the same thing, that superpowers like United States operate at different levels, including with us in India. They would, at one hand, impose 50% tariffs on us and yet talk about India's role in securing Indo-Pacific, etc., etc. So there is no consistency either country-wise or issue-wise in United States foreign policy. It remains tactically oriented, while strategy remains at a different level. I think one would also use this incident to underline need for a country to have strong domestic economy and an independent foreign policy, irrespective of what superpower leaders speak to themselves.
Thank you so much, Ambassador.